Etheriatry dialimetry. That's the name of the technique we are going to discuss about today. It is etheriatry and dialimetry is a kind of a magnetic, a form of spiritual medical treatment that combines magnetic energy of mental origin with the high vibratory frequency from the cosmos, as it goes with APOMETRY. So, dialimetry itself, the word itself, comes from Greek word that means dialio, that means dissociation. And the technique has to do with the dissociation. And we will know how it goes. So, there is an observation to do. This observation was done by Dr. Lacerda. The potential of cosmic energy is unlimited. But in practices, it's limited by the operator's mind. Because when combining the magnetic energy from mental origin, it comes from the operator that get from the cosmos and put together. So it is limited because of the operator, but it is unlimited itself, the nature itself. Now, etheriatry dialimetry. The process starts in the etheric body and will reflect on the physical body. Safe and effective. And these words are from Dr. Lacerda. They have, when I say they, is Dr. Lacerda with his team, researchers on the case. They have treated hundreds of cases with this technique in Brazil, with people from Brazil and people from outside Brazil, from the whole world. Now, dialimetry, what it is itself, it consists of a dissociation or diminution of the molecular cohesion of the physical etheric body. When the patient is on the treatment, the physical body doesn't show anything, but the etheric body shows everything. And whoever knows are those who are working with the case. It is dissociation of the cohesion of the cells or of the ethereal body. Physical ethereal body. Why is this technique goes this way? It is to find the root of the matter. You say you feel something in your stomach, let's say, your head, your heart, whatever you say, you feel something strange, something wrong, let's say it. So, when there is this diminution of the cohesion, of molecular cohesion, it will become less dense and it will appear, the problem will appear. That's why, that's the root. It will appear almost always it does as a dark stain on a set place, like a spot, something dark, and from that point on, they will know what it is. They will go on to discover what it is. So the treatment dissolves whatever it is. With once it is done, the treatment is with chromotherapy and fluidotherapy, laying on of hands, and all the other kind of things to dissolve completely what is in there. This technique, etheriatry, dialimetry, is used for incarnate people and discarnate spirit. It can be well used in one case and on the other case, if it is the case. It doesn't go for everything, as Dr. Lacerda says. It goes and works well depending on a lot of circumstances. So we have kind of a couple of cases to share with you. But before that, I would like to tell you some words that Dr. Lacerda used for this technique. And actually, it was from those cases of dialimetry that he codified the law of APOMETRY with the same name. So this new technique points, that's what he said, points to a large successful field that can help millions of people. Etheric body is fluidic constitution properties. Physiology and its interrelation with physical body. It is of almost the same constitution of physical body. But there are other words of Dr. Lacerda. He says, our work of more than a quarter of a century with research and discoveries that were guided by our brothers of high-level superior world, it points to an integrated medicine that is the conventional medicine, which means the medicine of the physical body, and spiritual medicine that can be spiritual medicine from the spirit, and etheriatry from the etheric body, for example. But it is all spiritual medicine. That's his words. He's not with us any longer. He's on the other world, but he is working on it. He has said that in order to come back with new approaches and go on with, or continuing not from where he left, because other people are bringing and have brought a lot of other things, but improving it even better. That's what he is preparing for. I will tell you a couple of examples that come from this book, Spirit and Matter. Some of the examples we will share today with the technique of dialimetry comes from this book. Seven-year-old girl. What is the problem? Suffering from malnutrition. She was very, very skinny, sickly, completely sick, extremely pale, with congenital heart disease and a strong systolic murmur. 7-year-old girl. According to her mother, since very early, she could not interact with the other girls from of her same age, because it was the minimal effort, and she started with dyspnea. So she did not have life, 7-year-old girl. So her mother brought her to Dr. Lacerda and his team, to the Spirit Hospital, but specifically to the Spirit group in that place. The girl was under the care of a renowned doctor. She was being taken care of since a long time, but without a good improvement. The girl was they believed there was no future for her. Now, who was the doctor of the spiritual institution where they have always been connected to? During the time Dr. Lacerda was there, and I believe so far they work with an astral institution, Love and Charity Astral Institution. Who was the doctor who took care of the girl? It was Dr. Lacerda, the spiritual doctor, because you know, when you work with APOMETRY, you work with doctors and others from the astral institution, the institutions that will receive the patients and help resolve the cases. We don't work alone. So it was Dr. Lacerda. Dr. Lacerda, in a couple of minutes, he starts searching the life of the patient, and it is fast. When it comes to on the side of the spirits, everything is very fast. So he came back to Dr. Lacerda and said, it has to do with karmic issue. The girl was suffering with karmic problems, which means problems that consequence of what we have done before. It's very known when somebody suffers with something and actually is having an opportunity to heal from their own problems, like a kind of a reparation or any matter that is connected with something done in the past and it is being cured now. So he said right away. So he said, we will do the best. Unfold the girl and send her to us, which means send the girl to the institution, hospital, of where he was working. So a couple of minutes later, or I would say a couple of seconds, when they send the girl, Dr. Lacerda also sent mediums, unfolded mediums, to pay attention to everything that was happening in there in order to give him the results so that he could write down everything and give to us. So the surgery was done very quickly and successfully in 10 minutes. 10 minutes it was done in the astral body. And it is exactly the way that is here, written as you saw on the book. Because when we experience those matters, we sometimes get emotional because it is so perfect and so fast. It is hard to explain that to those who do not want to understand or have not had an opportunity to understand, or to those who don't even give a second to think about. But anyway, it is this way. He said, Dr. Lacerda said, this surgery is very similar to the surgeries we performed in the regular hospital, but is done in the spiritual world. 1 month later, after the treatment of this girl, 1 month later, the girl was in a good physical aspect, nothing differing from a normal girl. 1 month later. However, the same strong systolic murmur continued. And it was something to think about. It was a karmic issue. The girl was getting better, but the systolic matter was in there. So let's see what happened. 3 months later, she came back to a follow-up. The girl had recovered her general physical state. Regular color, she was not pale any longer. Face and lips totally regular. Her cardiologist was surprised and asked her parents what was going on, because the girl was, even though he could see the systolic matter in there, but the girl was going well. So, with her general good health, despite the strong systolic murmur, everybody was trying to understand what was going on. On September of 1968, the girl was much, much better. It was 6 months before. Physically and emotionally regular life. Systolic murmur, exactly the same. Nobody could understand that, but they were studying the case. On 1969, March of 1969, her cardiologist allowed her to have a regular life, to do any kind of sport or physical exercise, including swimming. She was allowed by her cardiologist to swim. And the systolic matter was in there. When she was 17, this girl was followed many years, and it was great because there was a way he had to study the case. When she was 17 years, 10 years later, 1978, she got married. Same year had her first son. Her pregnancy and delivery was totally out of any problem and regular as any other woman. Dr. Lacerda observed that when the patient shows spiritual deservedness, certain karmic diseases are reduced or even completely healed on the ethereal body. Now, and how does it go for the physical body? Now, although it appears on the physical body, on the spiritual body, the person is treated truly and permanently cured. The cure happened on the physical body because it happened on the ethereal body. It does not appear the person is free of the problem, but the physical body is supplied by the etheric body, who is the body of energetic condition. It is the body that gives energy to the physical body. They are totally linked on that sense. So it was the first great experience he had, and from that time on, he wanted to know much more about that. It is very, very interesting and real because I myself have the same issue. It was with my kidneys, and very early in my life, I had problems on my kidneys. Actually, I was born with problems on my kidneys, great problems. And I started working and studying on a spiritual issue very early because of that. But maybe because of that, I deserved to go on with my life and receive treatment. And I knew, because I was told, that I was on my etheric body. I was, spiritually speaking, I was completely better, even though it did not appear on the physical body. But one day, just recently, I was told that I would be surprised with my kidneys. I would receive new kidneys on my physical body, even though I did not pay much attention. But when I went to a physical doctor to check on that because I had pain, kind of pain, then I found everything was fine, and I was really surprised. Actually, very surprised. It appeared to the doctor, I believe, that I was on delusion because I was talking about something when it was something else. But that happened to myself. And the matter with the girl is similar. Now, that's what he came with. And in my case, it was spiritual machines done on a day, a spiritual body, and supplied my physical body, on the etheric body. So let's see what else happened to this patient. He did not follow from that time on, but he knew enough to go on with this technique. And he has another similar case from the other book, from the same book of this case that I have just spoken to you about, Energy and Spirit. It is, the patients were twins, 2 boys, 7 months, twins, very similar to the girl. These boys were from Argentina. And they had, what was their matter? Heart disease, decompensated congenital cardiopathy, undernourished dyspnea, cyanotic, very skinning, and systolic murmur. Very similar to the girl. Actually, their parents were influenced by somebody else from Argentina who came to Dr. Lacerda with their daughter with a mental matter and was greatly cured. And they influenced the parents of the twins to go there also. So let's see what happened to the twins. So the boys were there. Let's see who was the doctor. It was not the same doctor who took care of the girl. It was another doctor. It was, the doctor was Máximo Aguirre was the name of the doctor. And the spirit, other than being a doctor, he was the head of the Astral Institution. This Máximo Aguirre. And the 2 boys were taken care of by a doctor in Argentina from Buenos Aires. Now, let's see what happened. Dr. Aguirre asked him to unfold the kids and bring and send them to the Astral Institution, which they did. A couple of minutes later, he came back with the boys, the 2 boys, and asked Dr. Lacerda, please prescribe vitamins to these boys. It is very hard to see the condition of them. How could that happen? So prescribe vitamins to the parents of the boys. There was vitamins, because that was the only thing they received written to buy for the boys, vitamins. So they came back to their home in Argentina, and 5 months later, the parents of the girl who influenced the parents of the boys to go there, they came to Dr. Lacerda to the follow-up of their girl. And they spoke to Dr. Lacerda and his team that the 2 boys were totally out of danger, were getting better and much better. Unfortunately, they did not come, but the other parents knew about them. So let's go on and see if something happened to the boys. What happened to them in another visitation? The parents of the girl said to him, what happened was that the doctor who was taking care of the twins in Buenos Aires, he could not understand how did that happen. Never in his life he had seen such a thing. The boys, contrary to the girls, they were totally healed. There were machines on their hearts, whatever it was, they were completely out of danger. And the doctor who took care of them called his parents to find out what was going on. And the parents said it was vitamins that Dr. Lacerda prescribed to them. That's exactly what they knew. And the doctor from Argentina was very mad and said, I can tear up my diploma, my degree in medicine, because vitamins do not do that. But later on he did not agree, but understood. The twins were totally out of matter. And the treatment was done on the etheric body, on their etheric body. Machine with machines, because they are advanced many years from the medicine, the physical medicine of the earth. They are advanced many, many years. Let's see another illustrative case now from this book. Now it's two different books because he went on. And this case is a patient, incarnated patient, because it is good for incarnate patient and discarnate patient. This one was December of 1986. Clinical story. Let's see. It is a female, 29 years, married. Chronic salpingitis in the left fallopian tube, with a tumor involving the large ligament of the ovarium. She had a surgery scheduled for the coming days, and she was very unhappy with the pain and everything she had to go through. When they dissociated the cohesion of the molecular etheric body, they could find the stain, and the stain was that greenish fetid glue. And the consequence of that, according to the information they had, was sexual disorder. That was the cause. But they did not go on this. They were concerned about what they could do to treat herself. So they did a couple of projections to sterilize the green tumor, and surgery was done on the spirit astral hospital, and 3 times was enough for her to go in there. This lady was completely out of matter. The surgery was canceled because there was no need for surgery any longer. After the 3rd week, it was only 3 sessions. So far it was done on incarnate patients. But now let's see etheriatry, dialimetry done with the discarnate spirit. So let's see this case. This case is 1978. And what is the story of this case? A psychiatrist knocked the door of Dr. Lacerda and his team for help. He did not want to do that. He was actually anguished and ashamed of that. But it was his father. It was not himself. It was his father who was about to have his legs amputated. And his father was 59 years, and he wasn't happy for that because he could not help him through the conventional medicine, the one he believed and worked for. He said with his words, "Never entered a spirit group in my life. Catholic, and never had the opportunity, because when the opportunity comes or the matter comes, sometimes we do things that we believed we would not do." That's what happened to him. So he said he went on with that. His father was going to have one of his legs amputated because of a disease without a right diagnosis, because there was not exactly a right diagnosis. And the matter was that something happened that was obstructing his blood circulation, the blood circulation of his father, with the imminent possibility of a necrosis. That's why he had to have his leg amputated. His father, he said, according to him, according to the psychiatrist, my father had never had any circulation problems. He never had that. He did not have diabetes. The disease had begun a short time before and became worse a couple of days later, despite the intense treatment with the conventional medicine. And he was intrigued with that, could not understand. Actually, his father did not go to the spirit group, to the garden house, to the spirit hospital. He went there and represented his father. It was him. So the time came to do the things. Dr. Lacerda called him and explained to him with the details the way they worked spiritually with APOMETRY, in order to make him understand that the treatment was done with doctors from the spiritual world, and it was not a game. If he wanted to go on with that, and in order to say yes, he had to explain to him. After all, he was a colleague, another doctor, even though working with psychiatry, but both of them were doctors of regular and conventional science. So he said, "That's okay, let's go on. I want my father to do anything for my father." So when they started the treatment, they prepared everything, and the treatment was done at a distance. When they opened everything, the frequency, vibratory frequency of the patient, his father, a spirit came to the session, and he did not know what was going on. He was with the pain on his leg, and he said that what the spirit said, "They have amputated my leg." They means somebody in the hospital, because the spirit was dead, but did not understand he was dead. He believed he was alive. So he went on. "My leg is painful," and he was crying with the leg because the pain came back right away. And now it comes the treatment to the discarnate spirit. Area 3, dialimetry. Actually, the treatment was dialimetry. They took the body of the patient, the astral body, and did whatever they had to do, and they healed, they reconstructed the spirit body of the spirit who was not with his leg, who was under pain, who was feeling everything as if it were done the day before. And you already know that because we have already discussed that. It doesn't mean that you go to the other side and everything will be fine and okay and you always go to a better place. It depends. If you do not accept the problem you are having before you go, you will be there with the matter, with the pain, with everything. That's what happened to him. And he went on with that. He did not understand he was dead. He said, after death, he did not say, but he was talking about his story. And they knew about his story said by himself, by the Spirit. So the Spirit said, I woke up in a place that I never been before, with different people, different place, did not understand anything, did not understand what was going on, and I was feeling weak and abandoned with strange people. He was wandering from one place to the other, and he remembered the Virgin Mary, because he was Catholic also. And prayers, he started praying, and he was helped. According to him, he was helped after he started praying the prayers he knew how to say. So, he said that by doing so, he was brought to a city, like a busy city. He said, it was a busy city with traffic and with everything. When I got in that city, I remembered I had a good friend. And who was the good friend? The father of the psychiatrist, the guy, the patient. And the Spirit said, I went right away. My thoughts brought right away brought me to him. And I saw myself in front of him. He was reading a newspaper. It was only the power of his thoughts. He tried to speak to his friend, the father of the psychiatrist. But his friend did not pay attention, did not understand there was somebody in front of him. He believed, the Spirit believed, his friend did not care about him anymore. He did not understand why he was so cold to him. But he persisted in talking to him. Understanding that something was going on, he decided to sit down close to his best friend, his good friend. The Spirit found that his good friend started having pain on his leg. And he decided to go in the house and stay in there, in the house that always had received him with pleasure. He decided to stay in there and start seeing, watching things happening and understanding what, believing that his friend, his good friend, was feeling the same thing that he felt. And when he heard the name amputation, he believed that his friend would have the same matter that he had. But the Spirit did not understand that what was going on was himself influencing the other with the energy. He did not understand that he was very close to the other, and the other start feeling what the Spirit was feeling before. That's the induction, the way it started. It was not intentional, but it happens. The Spirit did not understand also. So, time passed by, and suddenly, after he was speaking to them about his story, he woke up again and did not understand one word and why he was in there, and he had not the matter anymore, and everything was done without pain, and his leg was there in the same way. Then Dr. Lacerda spoke to him and made him understand everything, what happened to him, and the way he received help, and understanding everything, and understand that his friend, his good friend, was just receiving the influence of his own matter. It was a kind of induction. One transfers to the other, and the first one doesn't feel the pain any longer. So when the spirit understood everything, the problem was gone. The spirit agreed to go to the institution where Dr. Lacerda sent his patients. The father of the psychiatrist was totally out of any matter. Everything was explained, and 1 week after, that's it. 1 week after, he was, with the surgery canceled, he was not feeling anything any longer because the root of the matter was out. And dialimetry, the technique of dialimetry, this time worked for the discarnate spirit. The other examples, the same technique worked for incarnate patients, but this one was for discarnate patient. And just to finish our today's case, there is one more case from Dr. Lacerda, also from this book, Spirit and Matter. And it is a female, 28, married. It was June of 1986. Let's see the clinical story of this lady. Since she married 8 years before, she had intense pain on her breasts, which were always swollen and hardened and painful, especially when touched and on the time of her periods. She was suffering from that and was having a lot of problems. The diagnosis was chronic mastopathy, a pathology of the breasts, due to a hormonal dysfunction caused by contraceptive. They dissociated the etheric body of the patient, and soon they saw where the stain was, because the disease of the matter that sometimes is just an induction, as we saw in the last case. The root of the disease appears like a stain, a dark color stain. So it was, once it was found, they start doing treatment, which means laying on of hands, fluidotherapy, chromotherapy, until it goes totally. There was 3 sections. In 3 sessions with intervals of 15 days, she was completely out of matter.